afford protecting me?
I grow poor protecting you.
Poor. Poor. Under my patronage, you've become a knight. You've served as commander of the City Watch.
Briefly.
Sure, you filled your pockets.
And now my pockets are empty. You've given me a taste for the finer things. And if you want me to carry on protecting you, you'll need to pay more.
I thought we were friends.
We are. But I'm a sellsword. I sell my sword. I don't loan it out to friends as a favor.
How much?
Double.
Double?
I'm a knight now. Knights are worth double.
Hey folks, how's it going today? Just wanted to give you a brief of what I think should happen. And I'm going to do that. Completely. Here's what's going on right now, in my opinion, in Venezuela. And what should happen. Not what is happening. It is what should happen. And I mean this, and I don't even know how highly to speak to you about this. Brazil was a game changer. When Bolsonaro took charge, what ended up happening is Brazil flipped from left to right, okay? If you look at the political maps, no matter where you want to look at them, now Venezuela with Colombia, Brazil, and also Guyana, which is neutral, but it is in that sphere where we have influence, and Trinidad and Tobago. We can also go out into, if we want to go into further reaches, the Dominican Republic. They'll do what we want them to do, okay? And that's if you need to get resupplied into Venezuela. So, what I do believe is happening, not that I have any secret intel, trust me, I don't, but what I do know is that DIA, Delta India, wow, I can't believe my mind dumps on just phonetic alphabet now. Delta India Alpha. They do have the Defense Clandestine Service, DCS, in there. And so what you're looking at is you probably also have the CIA's DO, which is nothing more than SAT operators in there. They're both the same thing. They're clandestine espionage operatives and human intelligence guys. Human's the key on this one. So I hope, quote unquote, they have their assets on the ground. I'm sure they do. I'm sure both branches, Delta India Alpha and Christians in Action, I'll just use that easier, have their analyst on this. I'm pretty sure they do. So, what I'm fairly sure of is that the operatives are already on the ground. And no problem, Corwin. Nice seeing you. Nice seeing you, Jermaine, brother. So here's how I look at this. Now, I have to go old school on this in a couple different levels, and I've got to go first to the oldest, William Walker. The key reason I bring this up today is last night with Jaffe on WPRPN, World Pirate Radio Network, we did the World Pirate Radio News, and I wasn't able to get deep into what I think's going on, what I believe is going on. That's all I'll say. Right now, we have our guys in there destabilizing Venezuela from Maduro because there was a properly elected president put in there. And we're going to support him. Now, here's my issue with it. It should not be officially, and I mean this, with CIA or DIA assets, Christians in Action or Defense Intelligence Agency, people in there. It should be they start hiring, and you have to go back to the 80s, people like Eugene Hassenfuss, you have to Frank Camper, different people that were characters back in the day, and it will work completely. Same with what's his name, Barry Seal. But what you have is they're surrounded. Colombia, you also have Brazil, which was not a player in the game until Bolsonaro's election. It's a game changer. And all the other states that I mentioned earlier, they surround them. And several of them are neutral as entry points. Now, I go back to I hate saying it this way, and I will tell you why I hate saying it. Mike Hoare, a lot of people, when you look it up on Wikipedia, Wikipedia has been doing a lot of fuckery. And I mean this in all honesty. That was from the East Germans. They called him that because he was very effective against the Cubans and everything else with the 5th Commando. When he went in to Africa, Mike Hoare, back in the day, he did a whole lot of stuff. And the only thing they could get him on is an Air India flight came in, and the idiots didn't dump the guns before they got on the flight, and they considered them to be hijackers. So he did jail time, whatever. It's because he failed to think that, aircraft are now being pressurized, so he couldn't dump the guns out. And this is old school stuff from the 80s. He couldn't dump the guns over the Atlantic. He could have dumped the guns in the country. It wouldn't have mattered before they all boarded the jets. Think of the Flight of the Wild Geese, which he was a consultant on that movie. That was the attitude, the mental attitude. But notice in the movie, everybody's throwing their guns out. And it was a prop-driven plane. Well, that Air India flight was not a prop-driven plane. He gave them the gas to get the hell out of there. And they even had an injured plane, but they were able to limp along. And all the UN could get them on was on hijacking a plane. That's bullshit. It was a bullshit charge. It's what they do. You think I'm wrong, look it up. You'll see what I'm talking about. Me and Jaffe had a great conversation over this. I don't think he understood what I was talking about when I said, in the face of William Walker. Now, this is another thing I'll talk about, and this was in Nicaragua. And, of course, there's fuckery afoot on Wikipedia again. William Walker, filibuster, right? And they tell the truth about everything, his dueling, everything that happened, who was going against them. Cornelius Vanderbilt, Commodore, his boats and everything. There was going to be a actual, instead of a Panama Canal, was a smaller way to do it going through the lake, and they were going to make a canal through Nicaragua. But because William Walker became the president briefly there, and if you think the Nicaraguans hated him, you'd be a failure, because there is a stone erected commemorating his presidency to this day. Okay? That exists. But in the end, here's what they say about him. It's hilarious because this is a new addendum. I only looked it up. I haven't looked it up since 2005. And what they say is he was supporting slavery for those people. Why would they erect a monument to him, a little stone? Why would they even put his name down there as a president? They wouldn't if he wanted to enslave them. Think about this, folks. think about how they're erasing history in the U.S. now. Remember, Daniel Ortega was president of Nicaragua, too. He was a communist. See how this works? But they didn't take down the statues. Or not statues, but, monuments. Cornelius Vanderbilt. What I'll tell you about him, and I said it last night, said it very clearly. Gloria Vanderbilt was his daughter, direct daughter in the 80s. Or no, granddaughter, I'm sorry. I misspoke. Direct granddaughter. Now, who's her grandson? Oh, he's on CNN. Anderson Cooper. Oh, wow. Who do you work for? So when I tell you who's looking to do things, you have to look for the internal fuckery. And the internal fuckery is very clear. Jaffe did ask a question about William Walker. There is no relation to the Bushes. But he'll have to look that up himself. Wikipedia did get that right. Just because the last name was Walker didn't mean he was related to Prescott or Walker Bush. So it is what it is. Love him. He's a great guy. We can agree to disagree, but sometimes facts get in the way. But Cornelius Vanderbilt, nobody can deny the direct line. This is a fact. So, here's my thing that I will go. Just like with Eugene Hassenfuss, just like, and this is the best way to do it, Barry Seal, you have Colombia surrounding them. You have numerous nation states now surrounding them. Brazil, Suriname, which is neutral. You also have Dominican Republic. All these nation states surround them. Maduro's screwed. So what you need to do is insert a force like 5th Commando. And you also have to be able to envelop that nation quickly and have supply lines. And it has to be, the U.S. does not need to get normal forces into this game. They probably do have SOCOM on the ground, pull them out. Same thing with DIA and CIA. Get them out. You don't want any fingerprints. But you pay the nations around them, and you also support Brazil, Colombia, all the nation states that will want to naturally bring it to heel, because otherwise it's going to be a complete disaster, and I'll tell you why. They will say, see, they're taking over the oil fields. No, you need to have a hand in there that goes in there, and they're able to stabilize the nation, guard the oil fields, let the populace go to work, let everything resume to normal, just like what happened with Mike Hoare, and stabilize it, and let those people be the ones who maintain their nation state with the president they actually voted for. And he may not be the best. But the thing is, they get a vote again. And then just like in Sierra Leone, back in the day, the other time that this has worked properly, they leave. They absolutely leave. And so do the nation states, the other nation states. And that's how you deal with this. Because if you don't, you're going to lose. You're going to fail. And if American fingerprints are on this, then, yeah, they are. Okay, Corwin said Venezuela will be fucked until they diversify their economy, though. You're exactly right. But they have a natural economy of tourism. They're on the Atlantic side and the Gulf Atlantic side of South America. So you have to let the dirty game play out. You're exactly right, Jermaine. And you know what? Who's the winner? If you lose a bunch of mercenaries, you have complete plausible deniability. And you also have a different dynamic happening. But remember, it was the East Germans that called Mike Hoare Mad Mike Hoare with the Cubans. People fail to realize certain things. That was back in the day. But see, everybody has this short memory span. They'll look it up on Wikipedia, and yet they'll see Mad Mike Hoare. Jermaine, you and I know Mike Hoare was not a mad man. And he didn't just go around arbitrarily killing people. Same thing in Sierra Leone. You know, the army was bad that was nationally there. We're seeing the same repeat, and it's always communism. And as Kubis Clausen said in the doco I'm talking about is called Shadow Company. He says it very clearly. They were caught between the devil and the deep blue sea because you had the army on one hand that would kill them, and on the other hand, they had the government that would suppress them in other ways, the police. And they were the force that, and the rebels, and they were the force that actually pacified that area and made them able to have a free and natural election. This is the one time in history nobody can doubt that straight up merc work happened, and it was good, and there was safety, and the people were freed for a time. I think they still are, actually. So that's my 2 cents on what should happen in Venezuela. Because Venezuela, we don't need to take their oil. The U.S. shouldn't even, and the U.S. should protect the coastline so that no other nation state tries to take them over while they're going through the transition. I mean that. I'm being very frank. And our dollar should be marked, and I'm sure we are already destabilizing. Like I said, I'm sure of it on several things. I've already said this. We need to keep them to hill too, where we will not supply them and not give them the currency for certain things. But the U.S. definitely needs to keep their hands out. And that way, we're not doing anything. And if the NWO freaks want to say we're doing something, you know what? Screw it. They can't prove it. That's the only way to make this happen. And our hands are clean. And Trump's hands are clean. It's like Grenada. A lot of people remember or fail to remember how well that worked, except you don't use U.S. forces this time. We could do that in Grenada. We do not need to do that in South America, because here's what will happen. It will confirm their bias. Those people will believe that here we come to take away their oil and take away their lifestyle and all this shit. They've had an entire generation grow up under communism, and they are seeing how it works. But the confirmation from Maduro will be, see, look at the U.S. invaders. Look at this. Look at this. It's the same thing we walked into in Iraq. I could tell you many stories on this, but I'm not going to bore you. I am telling you that we cannot slide into that trap, because that's what they want. And the mercenaries need to be international. I don't care who they are. Remember, you have French Guiana right down the road. And guess what? A lot of people always fail to realize jungle training for the French Foreign Legion is down in French Guiana. So is the European Space Agency, and that's what they guard. See how this works? See how all this stuff works? You have to understand how the components move together. And you have to fit your pieces in. Otherwise, you're going to be a failure. When I move or I do anything, I use people that nobody even knows I'm linked to. You can't see them on my Facebook or any other social media. You can't see them on my email. I have different ways of getting a hold of them. This is the way to do it. I'm telling you the way to do it. If Trump wants to win this and quickly, he will follow the Sierra Leone methodology. And everybody will say, well, I just gave it away. No, I didn't, because I absolutely have no idea how they're going to handle this, but it needs to be done. If you want a free Venezuela and a free Venezuelan people, it needs to be handled completely outside the books. And there is a lot of people and a lot of black money that can fund this. And you wanted a strategy to win? Guess what? Old Kaiser Chef just now gave you the way. So, with that being said, what do I know? I'm a dumb, ignorant hillbilly, right? Just been doing this since I was 17. I guess maybe I'm not as stupid as you think I am. That's fine. If you think I'm stupid, that's fine too. But I just gave you the way to victory without having our hands sullied by bullshit. So, with that being said, I've said everything I wanted to say. I hope you guys take it as it was meant. I meant it as being just normal, just crazy, just telling you how to do it and my perspective. But who really cares, man? I like my small channel. I love my people. We're all good men. And I'm telling you away, come shit or bleed, something will happen. And the worst thing that can happen is if we are shown to be the people that Maduro and before him, the president, told the people we were. If we take their resources, we will be, looked at disfavorably. Keep our fingerprints off it. That's my suggestion. It'll go nowhere. Who cares? If I get a visit, I've had a visit before. I don't really give a fuck. But I just told you the way to win. Win it if you're in it. And hopefully I'll be in it, because that's a game that I would love to see. I'd like to see how it comes out, because I know it will come out properly. Because I know there's a lot of good men that don't have work right now globally that could use this work. That's my first reason. Second reason is that it can be fixed with honorable men. And every man I know that's out of work is out of work because the bottom dropped out with contracting, quote unquote, because you have every soldier leaving service deciding to go into contracting and make no money, which caused the entire market to go bottom out. You're looking at dudes that used to be able to make $700 a day. Guess what they're making now? Less than $200 a day. You can work at McDonald's for that. And, okay, Corwin, Kaiser, can you answer a question before you sign out? Not related to this. Sure. Hurry up and type it in, because I was about to close it down, but you asked a question, so I'll answer it. I'll wait around for a few seconds. Just type it out, buddy. Yes, exactly. What do you think of, well, I see what you wrote. Look, it's all bullshit. It should never have happened. Any of it, from what you just asked or those people being put in that position. That was a total and complete setup. And that's my opinion on it. Not going to read it out, but you know what I'm talking about, Corwin. It was a complete setup. And I think there was a lot more players involved than most people think. And I definitely believe it was a complete Fed setup. So that's what I think. I've said it before. I'll say it again. And I won't mention names. I never punch right. But on the backside, everybody knows who I think it is and what I think it was and who it was. That's my 2 cents. But that's my opinion. And opinions are like assholes, right? Everybody's got one and they all stink. So, with that being said, I will close this out, gentlemen, and any ladies that are out there. Thank you for listening to me. Possibly. Anyways, we'll have to adjourn this because I don't want to go into that. This is what I wanted to talk about, and this is the way to win. I can tell you one thing. There's a lot of things people thought they won, and they definitely didn't. And that's because of a failure of vision. So you have to have a different vision now. And you also have to be honest and self-reflective. And I can tell you this with your question. I was there. I know the fuckery that was afoot. I saw it firsthand. And, but I wasn't in charge of shit. So, anyways, I was just bodyguarding one guy, a podcaster. So, it is what it is, man. Look, this is the way to win this. I've given you the thing for Venezuela. And that's all I wanted to cover today on this stream. All right. Much love to you all. Thanks for dropping by. Kaiser out.